on, guys? It's K-Dub here with another episode of Crypto Zombie. So today is actually a holiday in the U.S., so if you are in the U.S. today and you have off, I hope you're enjoying your day with friends and family, and, well, for everybody else, it's pretty much Thursday or Friday, depending on where you're watching this from. But that being said, regardless, I hope you are having a great day today. It is a green day overall. We are up 2.85%, Bitcoin above 7,500. We did have a nice bounce back yesterday. You can see we sort of dipped down to about that $6,851 level. We did have a bounce back, and currently we are just going sideways. So the big question everybody's asking is, was this move actually of any significance? The fact that we put in another higher low, or was this just sort of another fake out and it's a sucker's rally and we just have farther down to go? Well, regardless of the short term, I have one specific thing I want to go over today, which I do believe is very important, and that is why I am anticipating potentially some extreme volatility for Bitcoin either today, tomorrow, or possibly even on Monday, and I'm going to tell you why in just a little bit. We're going to go into that. I also do want to talk about how another recent survey came out that actually shows there is more possible long-term interest in Bitcoin. Also, I want to talk about 4 scenarios that we could see long-term for Bitcoin potentially. Obviously, some of them a lot better than others. And yeah, so basically that's what we're going to go over today. We also have some bullish news from Switzerland and a bunch of other things, including an interesting indicator I found out that could be signaling a reversal. We're not going to get too excited too soon. And finally, you're definitely going to want to stick around to the very, very end. I think you'll enjoy a little bit of an inspirational clip that I've inserted. Hopefully, I don't get hit with a copyright strike. But that being said, hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Also, don't forget we give away a Ledger, oops, that's the back, a Ledger Nano S every single Monday. And of course, if you guys aren't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? We do this every single day, even on US holidays. Imagine that. So diving in and having a look, we do notice that it is a lot of green today, 66.5%. Now, I wanted to show you guys, if you switch this into the Bitcoin comparative, you'll actually notice a lot of it in red, but for some reason, this feature is not working today. Look, when I switch it, doesn't matter. I could go to XRP, I could go to BCH, and the percentages stay the same. So CoinMarketCap is not working today, but that being said, we will move on and have a look at CoinFarm, which currently, it's actually slightly up on the longs, just a little bit in the past 4 hours, 51.85%. So the market is slightly bullish today, but I wouldn't get too excited. So essentially, this is the situation, guys. What we had was this inverse head and shoulders actually played out perfectly. You don't usually see it play out this perfect. I myself was kind of surprised, but essentially we got above this resistance and the resistance of the downwards trend, broke the neckline, and Bitcoin broke out. So that was actually very good. Now, actually, as we're talking right now, it looks like Bitcoin was trying to push up, but you can see right here we got rejected at the 7.6K level. In fact, yesterday some people were commenting like, hey, we're above it, and then we fell back down below it. So that is the short-term level to beat for the bulls. We have to get above $7,600. We have to break above this and put in a solid candle. Now, the next level would be around 8,000. I'm going to get into that in just a reason why that is so important. But currently, you can see what's holding us down right here is essentially this resistance from the wedge. That's why we're putting in this red candle. You can see we got above it, and we just couldn't stay above it. So hence why we call this resistance, because it does tend to keep us down. Now, funny, I was just gonna talk about this, but it looks like the chart has changed since I did this. But essentially, I was saying that the Bollinger Bands were getting very tight. And you can see right here, essentially, you know, we've put in a bullish flag, we put in another bull flag, and I was looking for a bit of a breakout. Now, currently, we actually are having the breakout right now, but it doesn't look like it was that strong of a breakout. In fact, the volume is still lower than even this candle that we had right back here. So that being said, it could be a significantly bigger move by the time you see this video. If we do retrace back, well, then I would just expect we'd stay in this a little bit longer, hoping for maybe that 7.38K level to be the support. And the reason I say this is because you can see right here, when we got to the end, we actually had a dip, right? We dipped down here, and then we blasted off. So potentially, I was going to say there was a chance we could have retested the $7,378 level before bouncing up, but it looks like we're actually trying to have a little bit of a mini breakout right now. But what is going to be the biggest resistance overhead? Well, one thing I need to stress is the 200 daily over on the CME futures. Now, the CME futures has actually been an incredibly important chart to be analyzing for Bitcoin. Now, keep in mind, this chart does not include the weekends, okay? So it actually will skip, you know, every 5 days, you just skip 2 days, right? Because it's only Monday through Friday. And you could see that we actually were supported by the 200 daily, even on that really big, you know, President Xi pump, whatever you want to call it, but currently we did fall below it. So number one reason why I do believe the $8,000 level is so important is because you can see currently right now the 200 daily is sitting at $8,044 over here on CMEs. And that's why I think the $8,000 level is going to be a very critical level for Bitcoin to try to get above, especially for the bulls. But one thing that we need to talk about why I do think we could be experiencing some severe volatility is because tomorrow is the expiration for the CME futures. And we know every single last Friday of the month, we always experience some kind of volatility, right? Now, I've actually marked the days one day over, so the bar is just basically starting on the next Monday. The reason that I did this is so that we can clearly see the days before, right? So you can see essentially right here, we didn't really have too much happen, but then the next day, April 2nd, actually April 1st was kind of the initial pump, and then April 2nd, we absolutely blasted off, right? Here we had a dump. You can see right here, the next day it opened, we had a crazy dump. You can see right here, this was right after the major high. Literally, the day before, we had a major dump, right? Right here, we basically had, actually, these pretty much ended every single one. Look, this entire month went all the way down to the end. Then we had our, relief rally, whatever you want to call it. Same thing all the way down to the end. Then we had, this pump here on September 3rd. Same thing all the way down to the end. Then we had the pump. We had this pump a little bit early, but, it descended all the way down. And here we go again. We've had a crazy negative month descending all the way down. And right here is when we're looking for the CME futures. Now, the question is, are we looking for a massive pump this time? Well, either way, regardless of the price going up and down, you do know that we are most likely due for some volatility. And if that volatility continues into the weekend, we are going to put in a CME's futures gap, which inevitably we will have to close, adding to even more volatility. So if you've been around by now, you do know that the end of the month into the beginning of the month does tend to be very volatile. However, I do want to point out one thing that is pretty positive. Crypto Loom Dart yesterday was complaining about the fact that he did not want to put in basically 8 straight red candles. Well, it looks like on the 3-day, we are most likely going to end on a green candle. And one other crazy interesting thing blew my mind. I don't look at the 3-day chart that often. I don't really consider it to be that significant. However, now that I started looking at it because Loom Dart had mentioned it, I noticed right here that the 200 daily has actually provided support on the 3-day chart. Very freaking crazy here. So is this an indicator that we should start paying more attention to? Look at it right here. It, we closed, we blew above it. And then look, support. I mean, you could basically say this is roughly support. And then clearly right here, we wicked above it, and we wicked above it. So I will certainly be keeping my eyes on the 200 daily. And if we do fall below it on the 3-day, then it actually could be pretty, it could get pretty ugly for Bitcoin, guys. Just got to be realistic about it, okay? Got to be realistic about it on this channel. But essentially, you can see right here, even live, as we're looking at this live right now, we are struggling to break this resistance right here. Now, if we do get above it, guys, obviously we do have, this kind of wick right here around 7.7K, the 7.6K level as well. But ultimately for me to, I guess, become a lot more bullish, right, is if we close, I mean, we could rally even up here. By the time you see this video, Bitcoin could be up to 7.7K. I'm not saying it's not going to go higher, but essentially right here is what we need to get above. We need to get above the $8,063 level, and the reason is because that's where we had this support right here before we had that plummet, okay? And ideally, if we were able to close, now this is the 4-hour, I would be looking for really like even a daily close above here, but if we can get a solid 4-hour, I'll take it above 8,000. But I'd really like to see a daily close above the $8,063 level right here. And if we do, then I would basically just consider this whole thing to just be a giant bear trap. And then we can basically continue on our sideways trend. However, currently, look, we did have the wick and now we're sitting there. So this level is going to be a little bit difficult for Bitcoin to break above. And for my bearish friends out there, okay, because I want to be honest, if we were to fall down, we would look essentially for that support around the 7,000 pretty much dollar level. And hopefully we would get supported by the legacy trend line, which of course is once again sitting still down around the 6.5, 6.6K level, right? But still a lot of bearishness, right? Still a lot of people saying we got to go lower. A lot of people saying, there's just too much hopium. No, we have to go lower. We have to shake out more weak hands. Interestingly enough, if we actually look at the snapshot over basically talking about what, essentially what these, what do you call it, options traders are talking about, it says probability of new highs post-halving equals 4%. Traders still want to believe. In fact, if we have a look at this chart right here, you could say that they're calling for a 1 in 5 probability that Bitcoin will be above $10,000 by June of 2020. So there's a 1 out of 5 chance that Bitcoin will be higher than $10,000 by June of 2020. April, May is the halving, and then June. Let me know what you guys think about that. Personally, I think Bitcoin will be higher than $10,000 by June of next year. That's just me. I'm not trying to be like a permabull. I'm just being realistic. I don't see Bitcoin bouncing or even being lower than that after the halving. I think that's just absolutely crazy. But also, speaking about the halving and speaking about how, these cycles do change, right? You can see right here from Crypto Wolf, he says bull cycles are getting longer. ROI since bottoms are decreasing, right? So you can see right here, essentially, if we have a look at it, he says the next top is 1,400 days since the bottom. The ETA would be December 2022. Expected return on investment would be a 40x since the bottom, or roughly 120K. And obviously you can see right here that, yes, the periods do get longer between each time as the market matures. For example, we've been or when we had that 3-month, descending wedge, people are like, this is way too long. Bitcoin doesn't ever take this long. It's crazy. But do understand that as the markets mature, these moves are going to take longer and longer and longer. And yes, unfortunately, the ROI will become less and less and less, but you still need to think about just how early crypto actually is, in this space. And if you want sort of another visual of basically how that looks, you could sort of see where we are right now in comparison potentially to some of the other halvings. By the way, this is from Charts BTC. Thank you very much. And, you can see that having a look at where we are right now in the cycle, it's kind of where we're supposed to be. I mean, just because it didn't play out exactly like the other ones, maybe in other cycles, we had a dip and then a pump and then another dip, but this time we had the pump and then the pullback from 14 to 6.5. It's not going to play out exactly the same, but we are noticing that we are still sort of on the trajectory, and even the stock to flow is calling for us to essentially be where we are right now. So you can see, yes, we did have a little bit of that rejected pump right here. So we still are range bound, and like I said, we do need to get above 7.6K. Then there's a little bit around 7.7, but ultimately we really need to get above that $8,000 level because we have the CME 100 daily, right? And we also have a massive support turn resistance there. So that's why for me, that's sort of my level that I'm looking for. But here's something crazy. Willy Woo, if you guys aren't familiar with him, I speak about him a lot on the channel. He's a crypto on-chain analyst and trader. He says that the price of Bitcoin still has some ways to go in discovering a price ceiling. For everybody that says 20K was the top, he says, this is his words, anything between a market cap of 10 trillion and 100 trillion is fair game. Now, let's have some fun with this, okay? Let's just round it. There's about 18 million Bitcoin right now. I mean, there's a little bit more, but if you're going to use a number like 10 trillion, let's just use round numbers, right? So let's bust out our trusty old calculator here and figure out exactly what the price of Bitcoin would be if we had a $10 trillion market cap. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 zeros. What is that? Billion. Okay, we need 3 more. Okay, so $10 trillion market cap divided by 18 million Bitcoin, right? Because that's how we figure out what the price is. Here we go. So that would bring us to a $555,555 Bitcoin. So essentially a 555K Bitcoin if we were to hit a $10 trillion market cap. So once again, for people that are complaining that they're too late to the party, I wasn't able to, get in on all of these, sick gains early on. Guys, there is still so much room for upside. And, I do understand that, a lot of people have all these different ideas of how they're going to accumulate more Bitcoin. I'm going to trade altcoins. I'm going to leverage trade. Whatever it is that you're doing, guys, ultimately, the number one strategy on this channel from day one will always be dollar cost averaging. Yes, leverage trading is fun, but it's very risky. Easiest strategy, dollar cost average, little bit each day. Forget about it. You'll sleep better at night, guys, okay? So that is that basically moving forward. But essentially, Alex Kruger, he says there's 4 possible long-term Bitcoin scenarios. And I want to ask you your opinion on this, okay? So number 1 is Bitcoin becomes a global reserve currency. Current hodlers all proven to be early. This means you and I as well we get filthy rich. That's number one. Number two, scarcity keeps price going up forever. Bitcoin continues to outperform. Investors do extraordinarily well. Number three, after a few more epic runs, Bitcoin eventually matures and just sort of settles into a pocket, sort of just finds a round number price where it just kind of hangs out, maybe around the 100K level, and that's it. And then number four, Bitcoin dumps into oblivion. People keep on buying the dip, and we all just continue to get wrecked. So let me know what you guys think. I will drop that above. And also, guys, if you do believe that Bitcoin does settle into a range, which is what most people here are saying, then I am curious what you think is the ultimate price for Bitcoin. Not like the high where it's going to blast off, but like right where you think Bitcoin will just sort of settle and kind of just ebb and flow right around that price. What do you think is that price that really Bitcoin should essentially be worth over time? I'm curious to actually get your input on it, but don't forget, guys, we also do have depreciating fiat, which is just constantly inflating, time after time after time again. But I do want to talk about the institutions because, oh no, the institutions, they're wrecking us. They're shorting us. Well, let's be honest, they are shorting. Some of them are. But that being said, according to a survey by Fidelity Investments, who just recently got the green light from the New York State Department of Finance, says 47% of investors saw cryptocurrencies as a suitable investment to add to their portfolio. That's incredibly high, 47%. I would imagine if you asked people 2 years ago, they would be a lot more skeptical. No, I don't know. Maybe they wouldn't because it was blasting off to the moon back then. But anyway, you could see that despite the volatility of cryptos, a growing number of investors are experimenting with them as a class. In fact, Tom Jessup, the president of Fidelity Assets, he told Reuters that the demand for digital currencies has been changing and that they are, quote, seeing strong demand and greater diversity of client types. There are more traditional investors. Whereas when we first started, we were only seeing very niche investors, crypto funds, hedge funds, that was it. But now they're starting to see a wide variety, a wide array of investors. So this is definitely good moving forward. But having a look at Bakkt volume, 1,504 contracts. But I know what you're saying. Bakkt, it's all manipulation. It's designed to just kill Bitcoin, destroy the market, suppress the price. Well, listen, guys, you might not be wrong about that. I mean, literally every introduction of a futures product, well, at least one from Wall Street, tends to pretty much come with a massive price crash, right? CMEs came out at the top of the bubble. Bitcoin took a major hit. Bakkt came out. Bitcoin took a major hit, right? So the overall sentiment on these things is we don't care. Although I do have to say, 42.5 million was insane. And we also have open interest at an all-time high as well. Just wanted to kind of point that out. 5,671 contracts is absolutely astronomical, but Alex Kruger wanted to sort of put this into perspective. I know it's the second time we're talking about Alex today, but he made some good points, right? He says, what makes Bakkt special for the bulls is not the volume, but how Bitcoins are physically delivered. In November, the number was 17 Bitcoins. In October, it was 15. But the problem is that there are two different contracts, monthly and daily. And if we actually look at the daily right here, you notice that, yeah, its volume is zero. I mean, literally zero. Every single day, it is zero. Zero, guys, okay? So what does this all mean? Well, basically, Alex goes on to say, essentially, that zero every day with the exception of 2 days in December in which 1 Bitcoin was delivered. The more regulated volume, the better. Bakkt's growth is very positive, yet keep present Bakkt is not that different from the CME. In fact, having a look at all these zeros, it's almost exactly entirely paper trading, not to mention the fact that they're introducing cash settled anyway, okay? So basically, I can already see everybody out there going, okay, so we're doomed. What's going on? They're just going to short it to hell, right? Well, I actually want to just make a counterpoint, okay? And this is not coming from me. This is coming from Andreas Antonopoulos. Now, he had actually a interview over on Ivan on Tech's channel. If you guys haven't checked it out, check it out. It was, nice to see Andreas. He's actually been on a few channels recently. And he says that while futures markets may indeed place a damper on the cryptocurrency's price, the stakes are different to what most people might think. He actually suggests it's the speculators, not the hodlers, who truly have something to fear. So while everyone in Bitcoin land is screaming and kicking, complaining that we're losing out while all these guys are making all the money shorting it, the joke may actually be on them. He says, we know for a fact that when the Bitcoin bubble started to go up really fast in 2017, the US Treasury decided to fast track the deployments of futures markets in order to stop. We can confirm this. The Trump administration blatantly came out and was proud of the fact that they had popped the Bitcoin bubble. So a lot of people see that it's a conspiracy. It's not a conspiracy. They came out and admitted it, but okay. But anyway, if you have a look at these institutions like the Treasury, he says that's actually their job, okay? Price suppression, he says, is not a matter of conspiracy. It's a market-based approach to enable those who don't believe in cryptos to take a contrarian position and short Bitcoin. However, do keep in mind, if you short something to zero, what would be the good in that, right? If I have 10,000 Bitcoin, but they're worth $1, then I have $10,000. So was that really a successful trade? Okay. So basically this has of course put a damper on the price, but also reduced volatility. A market comprised purely of positive believers, Andreas says, or at least those willing to hold the coin itself, is going to be very one-sided. It's not really a market full liquidity on both sides of the border. There's something really dangerous about doing cash settled naked shorts against cryptocurrency. For when you borrow Bitcoin as part of your short, your liability, your potential risk is unlimited. And finally, he ends by saying, if institutional investors face the situation of a renewed Bitcoin bubble and they continue to take a contrarian position against the market, well, then essentially they would be throwing fiat into a black hole. And essentially, the final laugh may actually be from the Bitcoin hodlers after all. In fact, guys, just having a look, one of my favorite things to do, most people, they type in BTC to USD. Type in USD to BTC on Google and have a look at this chart right here. This is how the dollar has performed in comparison to Bitcoin over the past 5 years. Now, yes, of course, in the past couple months, Bitcoin price has fallen, so the dollar has risen, but, you think this looks bad. How about we go to the max? Let's switch this to the max chart. Look at this thing. Look at that chart, guys. Would you buy that? Okay, so the thing that you have to realize about Bitcoin, it's not just the fact that the Bitcoin price may just go up over time. It's actually the fact that fiat inflates at such a fast rate that Bitcoin, being a deflationary cryptocurrency by nature, being deflationary money, essentially, then, it should theoretically just go up anyway in value to a crashing and depreciating dollar or other fiat, right? Just kind of wanted to just point that out to everybody. But, there is still a lot of confusion. There still is a lot of disconnect, so many barriers to entry still. For example, Makes Paper Wallet takes a picture with her cell phone just in case. So many people do not understand what it takes to be your own bank. It's very scary out there. You're not going to be able to call them up and go, hey guys, I lost my private key. Can I reset my password? No, that money's gone forever. That's why some of them are turning to custody solutions like, these different types of warehouses. So number one is obviously the barrier to entry. If somebody says, should I buy Bitcoin? The number one answer that you should give them is, well, do you know what it is? Do you understand it? Because if you don't understand it, then why are you investing it in the first place? That's obviously number one. By the way, guys, speaking about, Makes Paper Wallets, I just wanted to give you a friendly reminder. They are still doing their Black Friday discount, 30% off. Keep your cryptos safe, okay? And don't screenshot your private keys. If you guys are interested, I do have a tutorial. I'll drop it above. It's how to use the ledger, how to unbox it and stuff like that. And if you guys are interested in, it does support the channel, but you can use the link below for your 30% off. But the second thing that was a little off topic, guys, but the second thing I wanted to talk about too is, the fact of regulation, right? There's still some things that these guys don't like. For example, you can see right here, a third of crypto exchanges have little or no KYC, right? So even though technically these jurisdictions are not supposed to be trading, get a VPN, go trade. Not telling you what to do, not financial advice, not telling you how to circumnavigate the system, but that's what traders are doing, right? And this is a big problem. A lot of them are unaccounted for. Without KYC, nobody knows who they are. Now, from a decentralized standpoint, screw KYC, right? But from a regulatory standpoint, these guys are not happy about that, right? And you can see that the FATF guidance stipulates that exchanges or virtual asset providers, hear this out, must obtain, store, and be able to pass on data on their users when transactions worth 1,000 or more are made. This provides a digital paper trail that can be followed in order to prevent financial crimes such as money laundering or terrorist financing. So you can understand why these guys want this, but also not a lot of exchanges are enforcing this, right? So also, let me just end on some good news, guys. I do want to say that according to a notice from Switzerland's federal finance department, this move right here, which is to remove legal barriers for blockchain development, is aimed at increasing legal certainty, obviously removing the barriers for applications based on distributed ledger technology, and reducing the risk of abuse. So, not that bad, right? And for everybody that's been asking about the altcoins, you can see right here, so Matic essentially looks like it may have had a little bit of a peak right here. It may be attempting to come back down to the support around the 0.0, almost like the 2-cent report right here, essentially. And if we are able to go sideways and maintain that, then it may try another leg up. If that is breached, then it may fall a little bit lower. But you have to admit, it's basically almost come back to its all-time Bitcoin high again. And another project that a lot of people talk about is Chainlink. Is Chainlink a good opportunity to invest right now? Well, it is sitting on its 200 daily, and if it can break above this resistance right here, well, then it might look good for Chainlink once again, guys. But I wanted to end on this video right here. This is from Steve Jobs in 1999. This is from Wilson Crypto, and I just want to play this for you guys really quick, and hopefully it'll sort of maybe give you a little bit of an inspiration or just help sort of to let you know where we are currently in the space right now.
Yes, sir. Steve, what do we do about the press? I mean, the Wall Street Journal reporters get up in the morning, sell Apple short, and then go write stories about us. And it's clear that it's a perception versus reality problem.
Yeah.
They don't know shit about operating systems. They don't know anything about tools. They don't know what's going on in the future. They don't know that we're building icebergs, and you build it from the bottom up.
Sure. I'm sure that a lot of you have had this experience where you're changing, you're growing as a person, and people tend to treat you like you were 18 months ago. And it's really frustrating sometimes when you're growing up and you're becoming more capable and you've solved, maybe you had some personality quirks you've kind of gotten over, whatever it may be, and people still treat you like you were a year to 18 months ago. It can be very frustrating. Well, it's the same with a company. It's the same with the press. The press is going to have a lag time. And the best thing that we can do about the press is to embrace them, do the best we can to educate them about the strategy, but to keep our eye on the prize. And that is turning out some great products, communicating directly with our customers as best we can, getting the community of people that are going to make this stuff successful like yourselves in the loop so you know everything, and just marching forward one foot in front of the other. And the press will take care of it. It's like the stock price. The press and the stock price will take care of themselves. By the end of this year, it's going to look quite different. And I'm like an old man now in this industry, and I've seen the ups and downs, and when you see enough of them, you know that's going to happen. So when you get up in the morning and the press is selling Apple short, go out and buy some shares. That's what I would do. That's what I have done.
So I know a lot of you out there are immediately going to say, but wait, K-Dub, Apple, Bitcoin, two different animals here. You can't compare them. I agree with you. And also keep in mind, it did take multiple decades for, Apple to reach their current valuation. However, do keep in mind how much negativity they were receiving and how everyone was basically telling them you should just sell your Apple stock. So that was pretty much what I wanted to basically let you know, and just be careful of what other people say because, usually what everyone is telling you, well, it tends to be wrong. Most people are not where they want to be in life. Most people are not happy with their lives, and most people have absolutely no clue what they're doing. Always remember to take everything you hear with a grain of salt, including what you hear from this guy, okay? Because, I'm just a guy on the internet. But that being said, let's have a look at what we're doing. Are we actually trying to break 7.6? Nope, we did put a little bit up, but we are being stomped out. Okay, well, it is going to be a resistance that we do have to get above. But that being said, guys, I want to say thank you so much for coming back to the channel. You guys rock. You're the reason that I do this every single day. If you are in the US, enjoy your holiday. If not, well, one day closer to the weekend. We will take it. So that's it for me, guys. I get up and I do this every single day because I freaking love you. You know that. My name is K-Dub. This is Crypto Zombie. Until next time, stay crypto and peace out.